Hello friends! Y'all liked my first haul of the year video so much that I thought I would show you the records that I bought this month. So these are all in order of how I bought them, so starting from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. Starting with the bag. So right off the bat, we have Aerosmith's Greatest Hits. I've been looking for Dream On vinyl forever. I don't know a lot about Aerosmith, and I'm excited to kind of dive into the discography through the greatest hits and then probably fall in love with them and then work my way through their actual discography. So I spent $10 on this, which is a little bit above the normal spending amount, but I feel like it's worth it. Then we have Dinah Washington. This was on my want list on Discogs, and I couldn't remember why I added this album specifically. It might have just been the first one that popped up, and I wanted to make sure that I kept Dinah on my mind, so I decided to grab it. And we'll see why exactly I was so excited about this album. Or maybe it was just a thing. The Best of Guess Who Volume 2. So if you watched the video where I reacted to my mom's record collection, the Guess Who was one of the bands that I was unfamiliar with. And so since she has the Best of Guess Who Volume 1, I thought I would get Volume 2. If I'm not crazy about it, I can then just give this to her. Next up we have Duke Ellington, To Go Brava Sweet. And I just really like this cover. I thought it was an interesting kind of art style, and I don't have any records by Duke Ellington, so I thought this would be a good first place to start. I tend to purchase a lot of albums based off of the cover. I know you're not supposed to judge a book or a record by its cover, but I like looking at pieces of art, and I consider all of my records pieces of art, and so I went with that one. Next up, we have one of the Allman Brothers Anthology albums. I've gotten a lot of questions on TikTok of whether or not I have any of these albums, and I saw this, and I believe it was $15, which again is a little bit more than I spend. It's almost double what my limit is on records, but I saw that the first track on the first side was B.B. King Melody, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be golden, so I picked it up, and I'm really excited to dive into it because the Allman Brothers are one of my favorite groups. Next up we have this album by Paul McCartney and Wings. It's called Wildlife, and I really liked the little inscription on the back, so if you want to pause this video right here and read this, I just thought it was really interesting, and being a drummer myself, I really enjoyed the little blurb about it. Then we have Frankie Valli Close Up. I love Frankie Valli's Grease theme song. I don't typically like musicals, and I don't really love that musical in general, but that song is phenomenal, and I don't know anything else by Frankie Valli, so I saw this album for $3, and I was like, yeah, let's take a chance. Then we have Sonny and Cher's Greatest Hits, again $3. I hadn't had anything by Cher up until this point, and a lot of people on TikTok got very upset with me that I didn't know anything by Cher, and so I thought I would do my research. And what better way to do research than to actually sit down and listen to a physical copy of someone's music. And then last album for my first trip of the month, it is Sarah Vaughan and Violins, and this is another artist that has been heavily requested on my TikTok, so I thought I would do my research once again. All right, the next thing I purchased I don't have in hand. I thought it would be here by the time I filmed this video, but it didn't come in. I bought White Blood Cells by the White Stripes off of Depop. This young lass sold to me for $15 with shipping. I love finding new used records, and by new I mean post-2000 records on Depop. It's one of my favorite things, and they're little treasures for me because I honestly don't know if this is an original pressing, if this is a reissue. I have no information other than this is a White Stripes album, and I don't have any White Stripes albums, so I'm very excited to have my first White Stripes album. I just said White Stripes a lot. Next up, we have Roots by Curtis Mayfield. This is a 2020 reissue. I got contacted by Rhino Records to promote this on my TikTok because they were doing a campaign for Black History Month. They re-released 9 albums, and they asked 9 black artists to reimagine the cover. So I got this cool 12 by 12 print with it, and I have this really awesome album. One of the things I really liked about it, if I can get it open, was that they kept the original 1971-1972 calendar on the inside, and I thought that was just really cool. And I just I love all the photography in this, and the disc itself, hold on, I can pull out real quick, is orange, which is really just spectacular. I'm typically not a colored disc person, but I fell in love with it the moment I saw it. And now I'm gonna fight with this to get it back in here. There we go. So yeah, all around really cool album, really cool campaign I was able to be a part of. And then following that up, I worked with Black Box Record Company. They are a vinyl subscription company out of Chicago, and they sent me 2 albums to promote their subscription service. And I got Courtney Marie Andrews' Old Flowers and Jerry Garcia's Garcia album, and I fell in love with both of these. It was amazing. It felt very curated to my specific taste in music, and specifically Courtney Marie Andrews, I would have never found this album on my own. This felt like they really took into consideration what I'm interested in, and they found me a piece of music that speaks to me and was within their catalog, but works within my interests. So it was really lovely working with them, and I'm excited to do another post for them next month, and those albums were really cool. And then this is my final trip. This was the last trip I made. Starting off, we have Miles Davis live at Carnegie Hall. This is my first Miles Davis album, and this is actually the first Miles Davis album that I've seen in person. I'm not able to find him at local shops around here, so I swiped this up as soon as I saw it. Then we have Mongo Santa Maria, El Bravo, and I picked this album up, and I couldn't figure out why this name was ringing in my head, and their name isn't on my Discogs want list, so I was just really confused why I was so, there's something about this name that I just couldn't get out of my head. And I kind of mentioned that in passing to the store owner as I was checking out, and he told me it was probably from Blazing Saddles, that Richard Pryor uses his name as a joke in that movie, and so maybe that's where it's from, I don't know. But it was nice to connect with the store owner. I always like when they feel like I know what I'm talking about. Next up, we have Via Fontana, Volume 5. To be honest, I have no idea what's on this record. I am just always looking to expand my taste in music past America and get albums in other languages so I can kind of just experience more than just what's around me. And so I grabbed that. Then we have The Ventures, A Go-Go. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. My uncle, before he went off to Vietnam, my mom said this was one of his favorite artists, and this is just a way for me to connect with him. And when I brought it home, I ended up showing it to her, and she said that she's pretty sure he had this album. So this is just my way of connecting with my uncle, even though I never got to meet him. But yeah, I was really happy to find this album. And then lastly, this is a weird note to end on, but I bought this country music compilation album. I didn't recognize any of the names on the front. On the back, I saw that Patsy Cline is on here. I saw Hank Lachlan, I've heard that name before. So I'm interested to see what's on it. I'm not typically a country fan. I like Western, and I feel like I can get into country a little bit after listening to this, kind of see what I like. I wanted to start with a compilation because I felt like I could experience the most in the shortest amount of time. So I was very excited to find that for $2 because I thought that would help in my quest to understand country music. And that is all the albums that I purchased in the month of February. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I have a Patreon where I have a list of all the records that I own. It's only $1. It is linked below. There's some videos on the screen that I think you'll maybe want to watch of mine, and just have a really wonderful rest of your day.